Richard Corey was somebody everybody loved. Everybody wanted to become like him. They wanted, he was very rich. He was very intelligent. You bring a problem to you, he will solve it. And everybody was looking, at him like, I would like to become like Richard Corey. But what happened? One day, he went into his house and picked a gun and put a bullet in his own head. With all the successes he has achieved, eventually he had to kill himself. He wasn't happy because there was no basis upon which all his success was standing. So personal development without a solid basis will lead to emptiness. You just know you have everything, but you are not happy. You are still wondering why, what remains, you just be looking for things that are not there. So that's why as a Muslim, the first thing before you even embark on your personal development journey is to understand, why do I want to develop myself? Why do I want to grow? So why personal development? Number one, it is to have a basis. The first basis is to show gratitude to Allah by investing in the life Allah gave you. Allah gave you a life, and the life Allah gave you is like an investment into the business of you. If you take your life as a business, and that thing that makes the life exist is that, is the ruh, the ruh Allah gave you. Allah gave you life. And it's like an investment, the capital Allah put into your life, into you as a business. And the question is, if Allah has given you that life, are you going to increase the value of that life, or are you going to liquidate it? So your job is to, a way to show thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to invest in the life Allah has given you. You have to grow that life. It doesn't have to die regrettably. You have to give something back so that on the day of judgment, you can say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thank you. The life you gave me, this is how much I have been able to grow it. And we all have different capacity. And the ability to grow that life is what will determine in what area you are going to develop yourself. Because if you don't develop yourself, you will not be able to grow the life Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you. So your life, if you think of your life as a business, you will start thinking about, okay, how do you increase the value of that life? How do you increase the benefits of that life? So it's very important we take it this way. The second why is to protect, promote, and perpetuate the Islamic civilization. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He put us on this world. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So we are all representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And your job and my job is to make sure we protect, we promote, and we perpetuate, we continue the Islamic civilization, the Islamic value. Everywhere we are, we want to ensure that the Islamic value is present. But if you are not skilled, if you don't develop yourself, you will not be able to do that. So these are the reasons why you have to develop yourself. So, and the last why I have here, there are many whys, but these are just a few I decided to bring up, is standing for the family of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's one hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says on the day of judgment, as the Prophet said, Allah said on the day of judgment, you will bring the son of Adam, and they will ask, the son of Adam, Allah will ask him, son of Adam, I was sick, but you didn't visit me. And the son of Adam will say, Ya Allah, how can you be sick and how can I visit you? It's not possible. And Allah will say, so-and-so was sick. If you had visited him, you would have found me, you would have found me there. So-and-so is poor. You didn't help him. If you have helped him, you would have helped my family. In other words, there are so many things going wrong in this world that somebody needs to come and solve those problems. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ وَالْوِلْدَانِ الَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْ هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ الظَّالِمِ أَهْلُهَا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ نَصِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is posing to us a question. Why will you not strive on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we have weak people among men, women, and children that are shouting, "Oh Allah, we are living in a corrupt society. We are living in a society that is not allowing us to grow, that is not allowing us to be the person we want to be. Oh Allah, send to us from you somebody that will be, a protector, somebody that will be a friend to us." So, and that is the responsibility of the Muslim. We have to come to the aid of the world. The world is, becoming something else. There's all this issue of LGBT coming up. There's issue of corruption. There's issue of poverty. There's issue of sickness. Everything. These are problems that Muslims should concentrate in solving. Unfortunately, we leave it to other people to do. See, during the time of COVID, what were Muslims doing? Muslims were only coming up with fatwa. We were not coming up with, vaccines. We were allowing others to come up with vaccines. And all we were doing was to, come up with fatwa of whether we could use or not use the vaccines, those kind of things. Of course, there are some other Muslims that were able to later on come up with certain solutions to the problem of corona. But, those kind of things, we should always be at the forefront of some of these. So if we are not at the forefront of those, of solving the world's problem, other people will, decide to solve those problems. And when they decide to solve those problems, they decide to solve those problems based on their own values, And that's when we end up, becoming reactionary to, no, you can't use it, you can't use that. If we had been the first people to solve those problems, we wouldn't have had those kind of problems. So, but we can't solve problems in this world if we don't develop ourselves, So that's why it's very, very important. Now, the life Allah gave you is Allah's investment in the business of you. The question is, will you grow it or will you liquidate it? So it's up to you to answer that question. Think deeply, think carefully, and answer this question to yourself. And if you want to grow it, how are you going to do it? So you shouldn't liquidate the life Allah gave you. Imagine you inherit a business of, a business of 1,000 years, a business that has been there for 1,000 years. And, it has been given to you. This is your inheritance. And it was when it was given to you that the business collapsed, went into, oblivion. Is that something you want? So you don't want that kind of thing. So you want to be able to develop yourself and prepare yourself for the challenges ahead. So the second thing I would like to talk about is to bust some myths. Sometimes we think that certain things are the things that will help us solve our problems, but they are not. First of all, like the myths of personal development, three examples I would like to share with us. The first one is education. Sometimes we think, once I finish secondary school, I'll go to university, and that's how I build my capacity. It's not enough. The education, and education here means school education. Education is very, very important, but we limit our understanding of education. And when you limit your understanding of education, you will always have problem. Secondly, we make the mistake of always saying, no, dunya is nothing. Akhirah, we are always thinking about akhirah. We forget about dunya. We don't want to be active in dunya the way we should be. We always think about akhirah, and we'll come to each one of them. And the last one is fundraising, the fi sabilillah mentality. Unfortunately, fi sabilillah was supposed to empower us, but the way we understand it and the way we, relate with the concept of fi sabilillah is becoming, is incapacitating us instead of empowering us. First of all, education. So there are two kinds of education, so to speak. Or let me say there are two ways of looking at education. The first one is enslaving, the type that turns you into educated robot or slave to humans. Some of us go to school, and when we graduate from school, we graduate, you finish your first degree, and you start sending your CV everywhere, and you can't do anything. The only thing you have to think about is, okay, I'm looking for a job, but you can't create a job. Any education that puts you in a condition where you can't create your own source of income is an enslaving kind of education. You have to be able, you have to develop the ability to create your own source of income so that you are not always perpetually waiting for somebody to give you education. I mean, to give you what to eat, how to eat, you know. Imagine you have a job and they sack you, then what? You can start, you know, like your lifestyle changes completely. So you become very, very incapable. You know, you are only relying on your certificates to be able to survive. No, you should be able to, you know, you should be able to develop yourself to such a, you know, to such a stage where, whether certificate or not, you can still survive. You still have the skills to be able to live comfortably in the society and make the necessary impact you should be able, you are supposed to make. Our over-reliance on success through education is very, very limiting our ability to contribute to society. Because we are not able to develop ourselves to such a point that whether with my certificate, with my university certificate or not, I can contribute to society. So that's why we are always waiting for other people to do things. And we're always thinking that you know, the only way to solve problems in society is to go through school. The other type of education is what I call the empowering education, the type that gives you the ability to determine your own destination, to determine your own success. And it is not always found in school. You can find it in school, but because of the way our mentality about school has been developed, we find it very, very, you know, unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we can't turn our school into sources of creating people that can solve problems in the society. So if I give you an example, you know, we have people that study economics, we have people that study communication, we have people that study engineering. But the problem is we still have a lot of engineering problem in our society. We still have a lot of economic problem in our society. We still have a lot of communication problems in our societies. And Muslims, it's our responsibility to think about, okay, I have a degree in economics. How do I solve problems, economic problems in society without necessarily relying on government institutions? You know, we have to think about coming up with alternative solutions with the purpose of making those alternative solutions mainstream solutions, because alternative solutions are not always useful as long as they remain alternative solutions. They have to become mainstream solutions. If you want to solve problems in society, your solution should not be alternative. Your solution should become mainstream. And that's why as Muslims, we have to work towards coming up with ideas. If you studied economics, if you studied engineering, think about it, you know, the kind of cars that are in our community, in our society, you know, how do we create our own cars without relying on other people from other parts of the world? You study engineering, it's your problem to solve. You have to know how to create engines, you have to know how to design all these kind of things. And these are skills. Now, this is, you know, at an individual level, you should do this. At a collective level, you should do this also as Muslims. You know, and that's why Muslims have to be completely different from other people. Our purpose, if you remember, the three things for which why you have to develop yourself is, as I mentioned before, is to as gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he gave you life and you want to improve the life. You want to add values to that life. And secondly is to perpetuate the you know, value of Islam and to help the family of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the reasons, those are the three things upon which you want to base your personal development. Not because you want to become a director of one office or, you know, a lecturer in somewhere. You don't need all those things. What we need is people that will solve real life problems in society. And that's why you need empowering education. And those empowering education are not always found in schools. School is good. It will give you the foundation to develop your brain. But where do you get empowering education? You get empowering education from people that are actually solving real life problems. So if you are an engineer, for example, you can buy books of engineers that have actually solved real life problems in order to understand their mindset, the way they will solve problems in the society, instead of arguing among ourselves. You know, like what we need is really solving real life problem. And when you solve problems like that, it becomes sadaqatun jariyah for you. I won't go deeper into that now. The issue of akhirah over dunya, you know, like some Muslims look down on dunya, you know, like, and they feel like, no, forget about dunya, just focus on akhirah. But we forget that the path to Al-Jannah is dunya. the path to Al-Jannah, your contribution to dunya is what will lead, like on the day of judgment, we talk about balance, al-mizan. And the mizan is not just an imaginary thing. It's about what you do in dunya. What is your contribution in dunya? And for what did you contribute? For what reason did you contribute what you contributed in dunya? Is it because of Allah, or is it because you want to become a director or a political appointee, or you want to become the president of Nigeria? Or because you really want to solve this problem people are facing in the world for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you do that, in fact, when you do that, your whole life becomes kind of ibadah. And when your life becomes ibadah, everything you do, you are earning a reward on it. So it is better. A Muslim that goes out to solve problems in the society is far, far, far much better than a Muslim that sits down in the mosque doing azkar, thinking that that azkar will set him to Al-Jannah. You remember the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith of the sheep, where there are people in a ship, not going too deeper into the hadith, but there are two decks. There's the upper deck, there's the lower deck. And the people in the upper deck have virtually everything they need to survive. And the people in the lower deck don't have things they need to survive. And they need water. There's water at the upper deck, but at the lower deck, there's no water. The people at the lower deck always go to the people at the upper deck to ask for water. Can you give us water? And one of them was, why do we always have to go to the people up there? See, we're in the sea. We're in the ocean. Why don't we dig a hole in the ship so that we can have access to water? We don't have to ask them. What this means is sometimes we don't have to wait for people to come to, to ask us, or to come and, you see, we are having this problem. We have to look for people that have problem in order to solve the problem. And that's, if you remember the verse again, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ يقولون من النساء من الرجال والنساء والولدان يقولون ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية. So why will you not strive on the path of Allah? You don't have to wait for people to come to you and we have this problem. No, look for people, look for problem. It's our responsibilities as Muslims to look for problem in the society that we want to stop. And finally, a Muslim should be active in dunya and develop himself for that purpose, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is when you do that you are earning reward. Your mizan on the day of judgment will become very, very heavy. Of course, it is with Allah's mercy that everybody will enter Jannah. But Allah asks us to also strive. الَّذِينَ إِن مَّكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَمَرُوا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَنَهَوْا عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. The kind of Muslims Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He wants are those whom, when you put them on dunya, you give them power in dunya, they establish the salah, they pay zakat, and they do amr bil ma'ruf. They enjoin people to do good and stop people from doing evil. And part of enjoining people to do good, we have to be very, very strategic when it comes to enjoining people to do good. It's not just by mouth, by word of mouth, but it's by creating the necessary environment. Let me give you an example. When we say, for example, sometimes a lot of us, we always say, look at all these women, they are dressing scantily, the way, the world is going, the world is becoming immoral. Look at how people are dressing, how women are dressing. They are wearing miniskirts. But what are you doing about it? You are only talking. You are not doing any action. Have you met with Muslim stylist, Muslim tailor, Muslim fashion designer to create lines of clothing that will make sure, lines of clothing and flood the market with it? The kind of clothing that Muslims and non-Muslims will look at it and say, wow, this is good. Line of clothing that you can call libasu taqwa, the kind of clothing that people will see, that promotes modesty, and also make people feel like, yeah, this is good, this is very beautiful, but it also promotes modesty. I don't know how you are going to do it, but these are the kind of things, these are the kind of way we should be thinking. Shaitan and his people, they are working 24/7. If you ask yourself, how often do you work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You're always working for Allah, probably during weekend or probably during evening in the mosque, But these people are working 24/7. So we need fashion designers that will come up with designs, with fashion, with clothing line that will be, that will be acceptable by virtually everybody, Muslim and non-Muslims, women, for women, so that when the non-Muslim woman sees it, yeah, man, this is good, this is beautiful. And it promotes modesty also. That's what these people are doing. They will come up with a clothing line They will do a kind of pilot among a few people and say, oh, people like it. Then let's create it en masse and, flood the market with it. Something is created in the US, they bring it to Nigeria, to all parts of the world. Can we do that? Can we work towards creating those kind of things? It's not easy, but it's something we have to. We don't flood the market with tools, with goods that will make people increase their taqwa. We only talk about it. We only talk about, people are not doing this, people are not doing that. No, the world we are in today, the way to increase people's taqwa, the way to make people be aware of Allah is to create products and services that make people aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are things that Muslims have to do. We have to really engage with dunya. And to engage with dunya, we need to develop ourselves. Now, I won't dwell much on this problem of fundraising because of time. But what I want you to know is fundraising weakens the ummah. Because you are always relying on fundraising, you are not able to be innovative. You are not able to create things. We are always waiting. Oh, we want to build a mosque. We need somebody to give us money to do it. We are not creating. Okay, what can we do? What can we sell to earn money in order to be able to create, to build a mosque? Charity, fundraising leads to dependency. And there are 5 steps to that. We'll talk about that a bit later, but I'll have to go fast through it. But the thing is, when you think about it, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about fundraising, about charity in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about charity in the Quran in a sense of you giving. It's a aqamu salah atu zakah, akimu salah atu zakah. Pray and give. Allah didn't say collect. I think it's in only one verse of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Allah said, take from their money, just one. And most of the time, Allah said, give. Allah doesn't say collect. So our mentality, unfortunately, is that of collecting, not that of giving. Why should somebody give you? Why not you being the one giving? We have to change the table. Every Muslim should start thinking about, no, I want to give, not I want to collect. When we start thinking of I want to give and not I want to collect, we change the table and we change our own condition. We change our condition and we start thinking about how to become very powerful, very, how to create solutions to our own problem. Otherwise, we become very passive. No, we can't do this. Why? Because we don't have money. Why? Because these people didn't give us money. So, and we end up becoming victims. We develop some kind of victim mentalities. So we need to change these things. Number one, fi sabilillah. The concept of fi sabilillah was supposed to be a blessing for the ummah, but we turned it into a curse, unfortunately. If we have turned fi sabilillah into, us being in a position, in the lower hand position. The Prophet ﷺ said the upper hand is better than the lower hand. And the upper hand is the hand that gives. The lower hand is the hand that is waiting to collect every time. So that's why we have to change. And the Prophet discourages us from being the lower hand. We have to be the upper hand, the one that wants to give. So, but because we understood this, fi sabilillah, do it for the sake of Allah. So give me for the sake of Allah. Why not you give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Secondly, we don't have, because of this fundraising thing, we don't develop an entrepreneurial mindset. So Muslims will develop entrepreneurs. We have to stop begging. We have to develop entrepreneurship mindset over begging. We have to stop asking people to give us. We have to start thinking about how do I give people value so that I get money in exchange for that value. Remember the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with some of his Sahaba and somebody came begging, and the Prophet ﷺ asked him, do you have anything with you? He said, no. The Prophet said, think about it. Do you have anything at all, even at home? He said, yeah, he has something at home. He had 2 things at home. The Prophet said, he should bring it. I don't want to go deeper into the hadith because of time. So the Prophet said, go home and bring it. He brought 2 things, and the Prophet was asking his Sahaba, who will buy it? And the Sahaba were competing among themselves to buy it. And one of them, the Prophet sold it to the highest bidder among them. And Prophet ﷺ told this man, I will give you this money, divide it into 2. Use half of it to buy an axe. Use the other half to feed your family. And I don't want to. So he bought the axe, he brought it to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet showed him how to use the axe. And the Prophet told him, I don't want to see you again until after 14 days. So the man went and came back. When he came back after 14 days, he showed the Prophet ﷺ he had made profit. And the Prophet said, this is far much better than you coming on the day of judgment with some signs of beggars on your face. This is what I call the prophetic license to entrepreneurship. Muslims should start thinking entrepreneurially. We shouldn't be, we want to build a mosque. Don't ask for money. Ask yourself, what value can we provide to society that will give us enough money to be able to solve, to be able to get, to build a mosque? Now, because of this feasibility, this fundraising thing, we don't have innovativeness. A great measure of a successful community is the quality of ideas it generates and implements. So instead of looking for money to build the mosque, sometimes when we don't need to build mosque, why do you want to build a mosque? What we need is build companies. Imagine in your community, you have about 50 Muslim companies that employ 50 people, 100 people, 500 people. Do you know how life-changing that will be? And that company, because you have those 50 companies that are employing that large number of people, you make an arrangement from the proceeds, from the profits, annual profits of each of these companies. Let's have a percentage that goes into a foundation that you have created. And the money you put into that foundation, anytime you want to build a mosque in your community, that's the money. It is from that foundation you build. You don't have to ask people for money. So sometimes we have to get our priorities right. Of course, we need mosque, but the Prophet made life easy for us. He said the whole of the earth had been made a mosque for me and my community. So we don't need fancy mosque. What we need is what will keep the ummah going. And mosque is part of it, of course, but we have to prioritize. Are people hungry? Are people, fighting for jobs? So Muslims have to create those for the people. If we are a financially dependent community, it's unfortunate. Sometimes I used to think it was only in Nigeria, but when you go to other parts of the world, even the US, other parts, when you meet some of these people and they tell you how much money they need to do this, they need to do that, they always have to be asking for money for other people, people, and we ask for this money as if it's our right. They have to give it to us. They don't have to give it to us. They don't have to give it to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the best money you spend is the money you spend on your family. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also says it. So why should I give you money? Because you want to build a mosque. Why should I? I have a family to take care of. I have children to take care of. I have people in my extended family I have to take care of. So why should it be you because you want to build the mosque? I will give you the money that you build the mosque. Then what? What happens? The mosque we even build cannot produce, the kind of people that will make huge changes in the society. So, toxic charity. There's a book called Toxic Charity. You need to read the book. Very, very important book. And the book talks about 5 steps that charity leads to dependency. And the first one is appreciation. When somebody gives you money for the first time, wow, mashallah, this person is very kind. You appreciate it. Then next time you anticipate. You start anticipating, you make some calculation. If this person give me this amount, if this person, instead of sitting down and say, what work can I do that I will get money? You start sitting down and start asking, and start thinking, if this person give me this amount, if this person give me that amount, I should be able to do it X, Y, Z, And then we start expecting. Then from expectation, we start feeling entitlement. He must give us, like all these rich people, they are too niggardly, they are too miserly. They should give us the money, as if they are working for you. Then we become dependent because we are not able to come up with things by ourselves, to come up with, let's start a business that will bring in money. And when I say business, I'm not talking the halal type business where you sell biscuit and you sell this. No, I'm talking about life-changing business, community, society-changing business. Businesses you created for the sake of Allah in order to solve problems in the society. Solve problem of unemployment, solve problem of poverty, solve problem, imagine you are able to create, like I said, 50, businesses where you employ 500 people. Each of the business employ 500 people. Imagine the community in which this business are created, the schools in that business. What do you think is going to happen? The school will be able to have parents that can afford, a premium price. They will be able to pay teachers very well. The economy of that society will grow. Why? Because you have businesses that are making good money, good income. So the economics, we have economists among us here, and these are the things we have to start thinking about as Muslims, and we have to start growing. So if you don't control the system, you're already a victim. So that's why Muslims, both individually and collectively, we have to start thinking about, okay, how do I create a system that I am in control of? we always say, okay, they are not allowing our sisters to wear hijab in schools, it's always a fight. It's because you are not controlling the system. In places of work, our sisters are always having problem wearing hijab, doing this. Brothers have problem going to the mosque, doing that, Why do you think is that? It's because we don't control the system. So when we don't control the system, we are already a victim. So that's why we have to start building our own company, building our own universities, We hear all sorts of stories in different kind of university, Christian university. This is what they are doing to our Muslim brothers. This is what that's it. I mean, you have to expect that, Why? Because you don't have your own. That's their own system. So if you have your own, you'll be able to control. You're under control. I mean, they are under your control. You can do what you want also. So, and that's why we have to start thinking. We have to develop. I'm giving you reasons why you need to develop. So now, how do you develop yourself? These are the mechanics. There are two ways you can go about personal development. The first one is to understand the tools, and the second one is to understand the methods. So, as for the tools, there's something I call planning, fantasy plus planning. So you have to fantasize. Sometimes you have to, a lot of time you have to think big. If you think small, you will only be able to achieve small things. You have to think big and plan towards achieving that big thing. That's how you are able, and as a Muslim, you have to live between what they call araja wal khawf, like fear and hope. And that's what you do as a Muslim. And, work towards your plan. You can have a fantasy, and if you have a solid plan, that fantasy can become a reality. Now, we'll talk, there's also what they call the levels of value creation. The most important thing in solving problems in society is to create value. And as a Muslim, you have to learn how to create value. So there are 4 ways to add values to the world, and we'll talk about that. You also have to learn intelligent imitation, how to become the best you can be. So we'll talk about one by one. Let's take the planacy one. The planacy one is about looking deep into the future. So what are your fantasy in the next 10 years? What are you need to have a 10-year goals, your long-term goals, your medium-term goals, and your short-term goals. Now, a lot of time we talk about time management, but we never talk about life management. We need to manage our life. We need to think about our life. When you talk about time management is today. How do I live my life today? Life management is about over a period of time. If Allah allows me to exist, over X period of time, how do I want to manage my life? So you will have to plan it. And it all includes time management. So when we talk about long term, we talk about 10-year goals. In other words, in the next 10 years, what do you want to have achieved? Then for you to be able to achieve that 10-year goal, you need a 5-year goal. So what will make your 10-year plan possible? What should you have achieved in 5 years prior to the 10 years that will make the 10 years goal possible? The same thing, before the 5 years, the 3-year goal is what will make your 5-year plan achievable in the next 3 years from now? And what is your annual goal? In other words, for you to be able to achieve your 3 years goal in the, before the end of this year, what will make your 3-year goal possible within a year? What in 1 year should you have achieved to make sure you achieve your 3 years goal? And similarly, what are your quarterly goals? Every 3 months, what are the things you must achieve every 3 months in order to make your 1 year goal possible? And every month, what should you have achieved in order to make your 3 months goal possible? And every week, what should you have achieved to make your 1 month's goal possible? And on a daily basis, what are the tasks you must be doing to ensure that your 1 week goal, you will achieve it? So this is, your 10-year goal is like a fantasy. But when you plan it this way, gradually you see it becomes, something that you can achieve. And even if you don't achieve it, the process of going through it will make you become a completely different person. So the other thing I would like to talk about is the levels of value creation. You see, as a Muslim, you have to understand this, and this is how you create value. Initially, sometimes people will say, I can't do this, because I don't have money. The government is not funding this. People are not giving us funds. We've asked for money. We've asked for we sent fundraising letters to people, but nobody sent us anything. You don't need people to send you anything sometimes. You have to start small. And the first level of value creation is implementation. What can you do on your own? With your own muscle, with your own presence, with your own self? What can you do? What can you create that will make one person say, I like this. Can I buy it from you? You sell it to him and you have it, you have money. Use the money to create more and sell it to other people and you have more money until you are able to hire other people. Then you move up the ladder. Those other people will be at the implementation level while you move to the unification level, where you monitor them, how to do it. You train them on how to do what you are doing, then you monitor them, let them be the one doing it. And as more money is coming, you move up the ladder again. Instead of being at the managerial unification level, you move up to the communication level. And at the communication level, that's where you promote, with your mouth, with your writings, with your pen, what you are doing. You do it on social media, you do it everywhere. You promote what you are doing. And as more money is coming up, you move up the ladder, which is the last stage. And you get other people to be doing the communication. And what you want to do at that highest level, which is the imagination, is to use your brain and money your company you have founded is providing to create more solutions to the world problem. So that's how you add values. Now, it's a bit deeper, but for the sake of time, I will not be able to go through it with examples. So apologies for that. Now, we have what we call the intelligent imitation, how to become the best you want to be. Sometimes we're like, okay, I want to become very good. I want to become very intelligent. I want to be able to solve problems in the society, but I don't know how to go about it. Number one, there are 3 steps. The first step is what they call niche. What areas are you interested in? And you have to understand that very well. So once you are sure, you have clarity about the areas in which you want to develop yourself, then look for who are the scholars in that areas, the experts and the influencers in that areas. Get at least 10 of them that you will study. How did they reach the level they have reached? How do they explain what they know? How do they add values to their community? All those you want to study. Then I'm not saying you should copy them, but I'm saying you should study them very well, understand how they do what they are doing so that you can adopt it and adapt it for yourself so that you do the same thing. And gradually you will see, you will be growing the way they are growing. Then the last thing is, it's not enough to have knowledge. You have to use that knowledge to create projects. You must always have projects going on. That's how you grow. That's how you build confidence in yourself. Because you have this knowledge and you're able to create it. You're able to use to create a project, and you keep creating projects, and that is what will help you grow. And it is this project that people will see and say, I want to work with you. I want to be part of you. Take this money, do this. So that is how you make money, not by asking people. Let people see what you are doing and say, no, this is good. I want to be part of it. Even though I can't be physically, but I can give you money to do what you are doing in order to improve it. So, and as for the method of personal development, again, not going deeper into this, but there are 3 things you need to do. The first one is you need to know what problems in the area you have chosen to develop yourself. What are the problems in that area?
Mr. Speaker, please. I'm afraid we have to give you 3 minutes to round off because of time.
Inshallah. No. All right, thank you. So so you have to understand the areas in which I'm developing myself. What are the problems in those areas? So those are the problems you want to look at and develop and go and decide on which platform do I want to be solving these problems. So you can decide, for example, go to the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and start discussing this problem. How do we solve this problem in this area? Start getting people interested in this problem, problem on these platforms. And by the time you have enough people interested in this, in solving this problem, you can start creating products and projects, that will help them solve this problem. So these are basically how you go about these things. Now, sometimes when you have reached your level of personal development, you know what to do. Okay, I can solve this problem this way. Sometimes you need to be able to maintain the momentum. So how do you develop yourself continuously without feeling empty when you reach your goal? Sometimes you feel that, okay, I have achieved my goal, But the problem is, I don't know, you know, you still feel like something is missing. And one way to solve that problem is with this approach. That's what I call life. You know, the E stands for entrepreneurship. You know, you start on an entrepreneurial journey. And the purpose of entrepreneurship is not just to make money, but it is so that you get freedom of time and freedom of money. So you don't rely on other people. So, and that's what the F stands. The F stands for freedom. So in other words, when you are at the level of freedom, that's when you want to learn all the things you want to learn. That's when you want to prepare yourself, grow yourself, develop yourself, so that you can move to the next level, which is the level of the impact. The I stand for impact. And that's the level where you start contributing fully to the society. You start contributing, you know, at different levels, and, you know, you have your impact. And the last one is legacy. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go deeper into all these things because of time. So the legacy is where, what is it that after you die, you want to leave behind? No, your sadaqatun jariyah to the world. Every Muslim should start thinking about, this is the sadaqatun jariyah I want to leave behind when I die, and develop yourself towards being able to achieve that. I think I will have to stop here. Thank you very much for your time. If you want to learn more about the Muslims life pyramid, I discuss a lot about in detail on my website, not on my website, on my mailing list, but you can get it at muslimchangemaker.com if you check there. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you were able to pick some useful things. Yeah. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. We thank Allah who has made it possible for our brother to deliver such a power-packed session within a short period of time. We ask Allah to increase you in knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and wealth. You know, a lot of times when we talk about personal development, we have this myopic view about personal development. A lot of people tend to believe that it's about, you know, reading books, memorizing some verses of the Quran, doing this, doing that. But the presenter was able to take us through a holistic, process of personal development. You know, so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him abundantly. I would want to quickly make a summary of the presentation for those who came a bit late. You know, it says that the main aim of personal development is to show gratitude to Allah. That this life that you have given me, the only way I can appreciate Allah is to, you know, develop myself, to be useful for Allah, to be useful for the Ummah. Also to protect, promote, and perpetuate the Islamic value and civilization. Okay, because there was a period in the Muslim existence where Islam was at the pinnacle, was the leading civilization. So how do we, in these contemporary times, replicate such a period again? Lastly, to help the family of Allah. He also talked about some myths, some common myths about personal development. A lot of people tend to narrow down personal development to education, you know, going to school, getting a degree, and all of that. And we also think that when we think about personal development, we only think about personal development in terms of the dunya. So a lot of people only, when they want to develop themselves, they start reading books that are dunya based. You know, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the Think and Grow Rich. These books are, I'm not saying they are not good, it's not good to read these books. I'm saying we should not limit it to the dunya only. He also said that education must be empowering and not enslaving. We must develop ourselves to create solutions to problems, to give and not to take. We need to also change certain mentalities that weaken the ummah, such as the fi sabilillah mentality. The fi sabilillah, it is supposed to be a blessing to the ummah, but today it's become a curse because we do not take it we do not take advantage of it. He also talked about value creation, the 4 levels of value creation, which is the implementation, the unification, the communication, and the imagination. Then he concluded his presentation with the Muslim life pyramid. And he explained what the L stands for, the I, the F, and the E. So on this basis, we can't appreciate you enough. At the beginning of my my introduction, I said it's going to be power packed. It's unfortunate that we do not have all day. So inshallah, we quickly move to the next item on the agenda, which is to take feedback, to take your contribution, observations. If you have something to add that can enhance what has been already said, we'll give you a window. We have about 10 minutes to do all of this. So we want to limit it to maybe 2 or 3 contributors. So if you have anything to add, kindly notify us in the chats and we will give you the opportunity to unmute yourself. Also, we are taking notes of all the questions. If you have questions, kindly drop it in the chat. We will try as much as possible to take all of them. Jazakumullahu khair. Okay, so I think the best thing is also to merge this session with the next one, which is to take questions. So in the middle of that, we will try to also take your observations. And not to forget, we dropped the link in the chats, where we want you to give us feedback in order to improve this program and the other ones that are coming up later on. So kindly check the link. It's in the chat. If you scroll up, you will see it. Fill the form. Is not something. Is a very short one. Kindly use that link. Inshallah, we'll try as much as possible to check it and implement some of the feedback that we are receiving. So inshallah, I'll quickly move to the questions. The first question I have is on fi sabilillah. The questioner is asking, how do we cope with the entitlement nature of people around us now? It is so alarming. Once people see you driving cars, billing don't start. Billing don't start means that they start placing unnecessary requests to you. They start sending you unreasonable requests, asking you for money and all of that. So how do we handle that situation? Secondly, what books can you recommend for someone looking to develop themselves? That's the second question. The third one is that many of us get lost in the, I can't get this, it said plenacy. Maybe it's a typographical error that you mentioned without actually doing anything. How do we move from idea to execution? Many of us get lost in the something that you mentioned, maybe the problem, without actually doing anything. How do we move from idea to execution? The fourth question is that an idea may feel great when you think about it, but turning it into a great product is a different ballgame. How can I make this transition successfully? Lastly, how can students turn their education or learning into an empowering one? So I'm going to send these questions through chat to the presenter so that he can also take them at his convenience. So, Malam Teslim, kindly check.
I have the questions already.
All right. MashaAllah. Bismillah.
So I should go ahead and start answering?
Yes, start. And when we have others, we will update it, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, thank you very much. I think number one, for the entitlement nature of people, people coming feasibility, all these things. One simple thing you can do, we need to start changing people's mentality. If somebody comes to you to say, please give me money because they see you're in a better position, it's good to help. It's good to help, but not always by giving them money. So one way you can help, if you have some mentoring skill, you can start mentoring them. Ask them, I would like to really help you. And this is how I want to help you. Every week we'll be meeting. If it is okay by you, or we'll be meeting, then I will help you. I will try and help you on how to, change your own life gradually. If that is not possible, you can look for, see, there is one course I would like you to go through. There are a lot of courses out there where people can learn skills that will help them become, move. There is this thing they call the triangle of wealth. The first thing on the triangle of wealth is they talk about high income skill. So let them learn high income skill first. Number two, from your high income skill, you can get a job. So when you get a job, a high paying job, you can start your own business. And from there, you can become an investor. So instead of every time giving people money, see what the Prophet ﷺ did to this person that came. He came to ask for money. The Prophet didn't give him money. He didn't say the Sahaba should give him money. He said the man should go and bring something to sell. In other words, provide value to the person that will give you money first. So, and that's what the Prophet did to him. And the Prophet showed him how to how to split a log of wood, and told him to go and not come back until after a week, after 2 weeks, sorry. And he went to provide values to other people, to help people, to provide services for other people. And by the time he came back, they started giving money. So I think that's one way that we can start changing people's mentality, as opposed to you just sit down there, you see me, and you think I don't have problems. Sometimes with some of these people that are rich, that we think are rich, we don't know the kind of financial problem they are going through. We just believe, he has money, he should be able to give me, and we feel entitled. No, he has to give me, And if he doesn't give us, like all those kind of things. They are not all like that. Everybody has their own problem. It is what you know. So instead of always waiting for somebody to give, it's better we ask, how can you teach me, can you teach me how to fish instead of always giving me fish? And that's what we should, we should always turn the table. Let me teach you how to do this. I don't have money now, then let me teach you how to do this. Or I can enroll you in a course that you are going to learn. If you finish the course by yourself, I can also link you with some people that will teach you, that will give you job, as an entry level, this thing. And gradually you move on you move on by yourself. You learn how to earn by yourself. You will do great service to that person by helping him that way than to give him the 500 naira every month. Why? Because at the end of the day, he will believe that another person will give him. He will believe that if he comes back to you, you will give him also. And what happens is you are weakening his the power Allah gave him, the power of being able to survive by himself by learning things. So that's what I will say about it. Otherwise, if we keep continuing, that's how the thing will continue, and that's how we will remain. Not only at the lower level, but at the higher level also. We have organizations that always looking for somebody to give them. They are not thinking about, okay, what can we do on our own? What can we create on our own? How can we send some of our staff to go and learn some high income skills and create a side business with that person managing the business, the money coming in, we pay him salary from it, good salary from it, and we also use the part of the money to, who says on Islamic, a mosque cannot have a web design company where people are building website, you are building website, quality website. If you have people, hire people, have a shop, let people be making money from it. Who says a mosque cannot have a photocopy center, a business center where people do photocopy, where you bundle books for people? Who says the mosque cannot have it? And make money, pay the people that are working inside there so that you don't need to rely on other people to fix your toilets. You don't need to rely on other people to buy carpet or rug into the mosque. So may Allah help us on that. As for the second question, I have stopped, which is on book recommendation. I have stopped recommending books to people. What I do is, instead of recommending books, the question is, what are you interested in? Go and look for people, the best people in the areas in which you are interested. Go and look for the best people, at least 10 people in that area, and study and see if they have written book, then good, you know the kind of book to write. So it's not me telling you what book to read. You know the kind of books to read, and follow them also on the social media. If they're on Twitter, Twitter is a very, very powerful social media for learning. If those people are on Twitter, follow them on Twitter. Every single day you wake up, go and read something they have written and internalize it. Look at the structure of their writing. Look at the, what is the reason behind what they wrote? Learn those things. And you see, by mere reading about what these people have written, you will, and practicing it, not just reading it, you will be changing yourself. If you go to the one of the points I made in the discussion, intelligent imitation. And the first thing is, what are you interested in? And the second is, who are the scholars, the influencers, the experts in that area? See everything they are doing, follow them, like from where they started to where they are going to where they are now, like follow them. If they have written book, read it. If they are written article, read it. If they have YouTube video, watch it, learn from them and write, take a lot of notes from whatever they are doing. And base, when they say, if I can see further, is by standing on the shoulder of giants. That's what you want to do. So, but you have to find out your own people. I can tell you books. I have many books also that I've read. But sometimes the thing is, many of those books I've read, I've not even implemented anything from them. And that's the same thing that will happen to you. So you want to, people that are, like follow them, see what they are doing, and you will see a lot of changes in your own life. So on the execution of ideas from the plan, sometimes we get stuck. Yeah. Unfortunately, the only way you can succeed with your plan is to have the habit of daily task towards achieving those things. So that's why you have to break it. What must you be doing every single day to achieve your 10-year goal? What must you be doing every single day? So every day you wake up, you must have a task you are doing. And the task must be moving you towards your weekly goal. And your weekly goal must be moving you towards your monthly goal. Your monthly goal towards your quarterly towards your annual towards your 3 years, your 3 years towards your 5 years, and that. So there has to be that daily things. So anything that will stop you from doing these things daily, it's a big problem. So, and the inability to do what you want to do on a daily basis is what will, distract you from achieving your final goal. So it's important. There's nothing anybody can do for you in this area. You are the one that will have to determine how much does it pain you to achieve your 10-year goals. How much painful is it? So you are the only person to determine that. But one thing you can do, if you have an achievement body, get a friend that will push you to always, kind of accountability partner that will always help you. Have you done this thing today? You said you will do this. Have you done it today? Have you done it today? Every day. And have a way. Don't just have your goals in your head. Write them out. What you want to do every night before you sleep. Write out what you want to do the following day. Or first thing you wake up in the morning, write out what you want to do today. And like that, and don't do big things, because sometimes the reason why people can't do everything they want to do is they want to do 10-year works in 1 day or in 1 hour. No, you have to bring them. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. If it is 1 hour, you will have to work on it today. As long as that 1 hour will lead you to achieve your 1 week goal every day, just limit it to 1 hour, even if it is 30 minutes. Don't do 10-year work in 1 day. You will get tired. It will be so exhausting that the following day you will be afraid of doing it again. So you have to enjoy the process. If you don't spread it out in a way that you enjoy the process, I'm telling you, you will never achieve what you want to achieve. So that's why you have to, break it. Some people will say, stop watching TV, stop doing this, stop doing that, so that you can achieve your goal. Don't listen to them. If you want to watch TV, you have my permission. If anything that will make it easy for you to live your life as well as achieve your goal, I think you can do it, because as long as it is not distracting you from achieving your goal, So the biggest problem to goals fulfillment, achievement, is because we take up too much, on daily basis. So it makes it very scary to follow up the following day. So that's my answer to that. And turning idea into product is difficult. Well, I think it depends on what kind of product, and it depends on how big you want to make it. Sometimes you don't need a huge product. Sometimes you just need one small product and keep iterating it and improving it. So if you have big idea, break your big idea into smaller chunks. And, sometimes your product will just be, like, for example, they will tell you an ebook is a product, right? But instead of writing an ebook of 100 pages, you can write an ebook of 5 pages. An ebook of 5 pages, make it free, or sell it for $1, or sell it for, and gradually, why? If people like that 5-page book that you wrote, ebook that you wrote, or 7 pages or 10 pages that you wrote, and if they like it, and a lot of people bought it, I'm telling you, by the time you write your 50 pages or 100 pages book, they will rush it. So you don't have to, your product creation doesn't have to be something that is very huge. That's a mistake a lot of people make, especially if it's your first time. You don't have to create a very huge product, 2021. I used to be like that also. I want to create one huge product, But in 2021, I went through a workshop creation course. It was a 1-hour workshop, and I paid 20,000. I was wondering, why would I pay 20,000 for just a 1-hour online workshop? But eventually I paid it, and I learned a lot. So I decided, word for word, let me try what they taught me. So I sent an email on a Friday night. I sent it to my mailing list. And I woke up in the morning with people. I had not created the workshop. I had not created the slide. I had not created anything. It was only the idea I shared that I wanted to do this. If you're interested, this is how much it costs, 20,000 naira. And I shared it, and people started paying. I had not even created the product. In other words, that idea alone is a product. The idea alone is a product, and sharing the idea with people interested. People paid me money in order to create the workshop. Way before the workshop was actually created. So,
I'm sorry, we might have to cut you short because of time. The plan is to finish, in fact, at 3:30, but seeing the amount of time as we spent, we want to end all of this at 4 p.m. So what I would advise is for the presenter to take other questions. You can maybe record a voice and we'll send it to the group on WhatsApp, inshallah, or maybe to the specific questioner. So I'm very sorry for cutting you short. We still have 2 items to run through before our time is up. Jazakumullah khairan. I hope you will forgive me for that.
No worries, inshallah.
No. So inshallah, biqudratillah, we are moving on to the announcement section. What are our next programs? What are our future plans? And what are the expectations from the UNILOM guides? So this session will be anchored by the Secretary of UNILOMGA in person of Brother Abdul Latif Bello Tinka. I also want to use this opportunity to recognize the presence of the chairman in person of Malam Sulaiman Olodon, who is going to do the goodwill message and the closing remarks. So, but right now, we want to pass the mic to Brother Abdul Latif to make the announcements.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khair to the speaker and to every single one of us for being with us all the while. It's one thing that we thought brought about the need for the University of Ilorin Muslim Graduate Association was the need for continuous development, a platform for us to continue to develop ourselves, share ideas, interact and interlearn. And alhamdulillah, whilst we keep honing our skills and trying to be better at what we do, we see improvement. And one of the things that is most important to us is when we look at this kind of training or this kind of opportunity, it is for us to also not only be reflective, but also to be very active and be able to give back to our community, whether it's our skill, whether it's our talent, whether it is our treasure, whether it is our, training, as the case may be. So alhamdulillah, we've had a couple of programs and we keep planning others. One of the programs we've had during Ramadan was the Ramadan lecture, which was held at the University of Ilorin Auditorium. We struggled with attendance, but we did had it successfully. We supported the Muslim Student Society of Nigeria also as part of our way to give back in the Ramadan program. We have different kind of series, one of which is starting today. We have the capacity building series, and believe me, no matter how much you feel you are very much skilled or adept at building yourself, you would have learned one of two things from this conversation today. We have the soul development series, for example, in the next couple of weeks, as we enter the month of Zulhijjah, we would have one of the alumni of the university and alumnus of the university to give us a talk on the last 10 days of Zulhijjah, so that we are better prepared and we are able to maximize the opportunity that comes with it. We do have talks about family. We have plans about enterprise development. How do we, part of what the lecturer today have said was creating businesses. We know for sure that not everybody will be business creators, but we can collaborate. We can, give ourselves the opportunity. We know of openings, job opportunities around us that can help people benefit. How do we even benefit from working in workspace? Skilling up. How do we accelerate our career growth? So what are those things to do? So those are some of the things we'll be talking about, because we are also practical people. We know that we have to talk about our relationship with ourselves. There's a relationship with Allah. There's one with our internal self in terms of what our life goals should be. Then there's the relationship with our family. We do have social welfare programs, which will be something like the final year master class, scholarship, local meetups that would encourage as we go on, and more people can coordinate and have local meetups in their community. We do have emergency welfare plans. Whilst this is, just like the speaker said, this is one thing that becomes like a last resort, but it's not a regular kind of welfare design where it's just handing over, giving handout to people. We do also have the essay competition, which will be coming up shortly or soon. And then our media team will be doing the UNILOMGA this quarter. So these are some of the things we have already highlighted for our program. So what do we want from you? Number one, we want your cooperation, we want your participation. We do have 2 WhatsApp group and 1 Facebook. We, alhamdulillah, have continued to work with several stakeholders to unify the alumni, Muslim alumni of the university. And in a very short while, we'll be having some major announcements and transitions, inshallah. So these are some of the things we wanted you to know, and we'll be happy to have you give us ideas on what you think you want to see
Jazakumullahu khairan.
in this kind of organization. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum tomorrow.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Finally, we are coming to the end of the program, but not until we have heard from the chairman. So we need the chairman to give us his goodwill message and closing remarks. We pass the mic to the chairman and in person of Malam Sulaiman Olodon. Is he still here with us? Oh, I don't think he's here. If we are sure he's not here, then I would want to call on Brother Abdulatif, who just spoke to, oh, I can see a hand. Okay, I think the person has sent a message. Okay, I'll call on Brother Abdulatif to do the final closing remarks in the absence of the chairman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making this session possible. We pray that as we converge to benefit ourselves, building our capacity, would be able to leverage on the learnings that we've had in this session to better our lives, to better the community, and to better the Ummah. We want to also appreciate the guest speaker for doing a great job. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to increase him in knowledge and guide his ways and guide our ways too. I would also want to personally thank those who work behind the scene, publicity, encouraging others to join.
Sorry, the chairman is around. I can see. Okay, because his name is not displaying, I would unmute you right away. I was looking for your name actually. Okay, you can unmute yourself now, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Please let Brother Abdulatif continue.
No, please go ahead, sir.
We just want to hear your voice, sir.
My mind. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward you abundantly. Brother Abdulatif has been speaking my mind, and everybody has been speaking my mind. Let me first and foremost thank our brother Taslim. He has done a very, very wonderful job. I don't know why we do not say that this program is not only a capacity building, is a program that it builds, is not an individual capacity building. It builds the capacity for a nation and for an organization like ourselves. So may Allah reward you abundantly. Myself, I did a lot of jottings, and I believe by the time I apply it, it's going to improve my well-being. I also thank all our brothers who attended the program. I must say that I'm highly elated because the participation seems to be encouraging. I think there was a time that we got to about 79, 80. It's interesting. May Allah reward you abundantly. This project is a project of everybody that is a graduate of the University of Ilorin. So I will implore you all to please support us in making sure that this UNILOMGA has come to stay and it impacts positively, not only in our lives, in the life of our community, and the life of the Ummah at large. I thank all the brothers and sisters who participated in this program. I ask Allah to reward you abundantly, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to activate programs, series of programs like this, be part of it, and may He reward us for the good job that we are doing. Jazakumullah khair. I'm highly impressive, and I'm highly appreciative of you all. Jazakumullah khair.
Well, Antum for Jazakumullah khairan. That was.
If I will not be too personal, I think I have to get across to Brother Taslim after the program.
Naam, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair.
Antum. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum
Assalam wa
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you everyone for showing up. Just
Kindly help us fill the program review form. You see it on the WhatsApp group. Kindly drop your review of this session. Jazakumullah khairan. And join us on Twitter at UNILOMGA, likewise Instagram at UNILOMGA. Then we have a Facebook group, Investor of Ilorin Muslim Graduate Association. Then this session is recorded live on YouTube. You can search for UNILOMGA, you get the YouTube page to rewatch the session. Yes, just go to YouTube, you can search for UNILOMGA, you see let me just drop the link as well. This is the link to the YouTube page, so you can rewatch the recordings. Jazakumullah khairan.